to kind of embrace joy and to understand that it's not illusion, that it's true. It is the light is actually coming from me, out of me, and it is there. It's there and it's shining. And to accept it and to understand it and to embrace it, it's been not easy at all. It was much easier to work with the shadows. Even today, I think I am deeply, easily attracted to shadows over light. I love photography. I like shadows more than light. So it's a very instinctive response to darkness. I am drawn to people who have a little bit of darkness in them. Because, I mean, it's probably some kind of empathizing, or it's an understanding that kindred spirit and so on. And I think that all of us have it. There is a dark side in all of us.
Yes,
and it's
for
not.
Sure.
It's not bad. It's not wrong. No. It's not. It's there is evil. That's different.
Exactly.
I'm not talking about that.
Exactly.
But I'm talking about the spectrum, and that spectrum is a spectrum. It's not two independent balances. So. So in that sense, it's been a process of falling in love with my bright side, actually, contrary to what
the dark side.
Yeah.
But I'm very curious about how have you been working with both sides? So you are very comfortable with your shadow, and also you know that it triggers you, and you have been reacting But then you said that did I misunderstand that you started to work with that a little bit? Or is it still so that now I know the trigger will come and it comes, and you don't regulate, or where are you?
I think this is impossible to explain without touching on the story of my life, in the sense that 2020 to 2024, and this is probably a luxury that many people do not have.
No, it's a good way of seeing it.
2020, when the world shut down due to COVID, in the fall of 2020, I had, I was flying high. In the sense that there could be nothing that could go wrong at that point in time in my life, work-wise, or life situation, and a lot of things. It was just, in a general way, I was 36, and everything that could go right was going right. It was just this really, really peak in my life.
Well, that was actually when we met.
Yes, we did the talk, and exactly. So it was all of these really positive seeds in that sense. We did a talk together, and the response, and being accepted, and having moved to a different location, to a different country and community. I had just kind of settled in. It was 4 years in Sweden, and so on. And so in November 2020, I had COVID like most people, and I had a quite hard one, and then everything just shut down in November in that sense. We will not go to the whole story. I have written about it, so we can look at the blog later.
Yeah.
But what that did was to kind of overnight make me bedridden, right? So it was just you go through all of these curves that people talk about as you would in the case of a loss or a grief. You're in denial, you're angry, all of those. And this is a story I've told a few people, that my physician thought that it was a little bit unusual how I was dealing with it, that how can you be so calm 6 months into it, actually. So I was in bad shape for a long time. And I was in care at the local doctor. So I had a doctor that I saw regularly. And she felt that, this is a complete change in life. It's a really life-changing situation. And she felt that she was a little bit concerned in the way how calm I was. Because it can also be the calm before the storm. So she sent me to a psychologist. And the psychologist met with me actually twice, because she sent me again since she did not believe the first time. She wanted it deeper analysis. The psychologist told me that he spoke to me quite long. It was a very thorough, I don't know what to call it, interview.
Session.
Yeah. And he said, of course, it's hard. But you seem to know what to do in some sort of intuitive way. And he said, what you have done is you have a radical acceptance. That's what you've done. You have gone to a place of radical acceptance. This is not a term I was familiar with or I understood, or I was like, okay, what is it? What is this radical acceptance? He said, I mean, it's the fundamental of all these Zen and Buddhist teachings and so on. So you choose radically to accept what it is. So it's a little bit like you asked this trigger, feeling of abandoned. I accept I had it. I don't need to know why I have it. I don't need to know who caused it.
You just have it.
I just have it. So this concept of radical acceptance I received in the spring of 2021.
But did you go through all? Yeah, you said you went through all the stages before.
Yes. I was so sure that in 2 weeks I will be better. I wasn't. Then I was upset in the sense that it was taking long. And then I was angry because what a shit timing. I don't know if you have rules about swearing. But it was really, could not be worse. And then it also, I mean, it took me a couple of times to the ER where it looked like it could be a cardiac arrest. So there was 10 days in that period where I know I went to bed completely content in whatever way I could be, telling my partner, it's okay if I don't wake up tomorrow. I mean, I am a parent, I have a child. There are things in this life that I wish I could have done. But there were 10 days in between, out of which, 3 to 4, I can definitively say that I had absolute acceptance of the fact that it's okay if I don't wake up the next morning. And then it passed. I mean, it's not like it was a window, and I know it was a window, and I know that in that period anything could have happened. And that feeling is not easy to explain to anybody.
No.
It's not something that you can manufacture. It is not something you can simulate. No. It was just a place and time. It was a window, and in that window somehow I was okay with a lot of things. So this before and after is very strong. So that's why I say that I don't think a lot of people have the luxury of this kind of window.
No.
It was not created by me. It was just there, designed. I just processed it. But then I chose to process it in the way I did. I guess that is the consequence in the fact that I can and I am able to embrace life in the way I am.
So it's was it before, or it was probably after that you met this psychologist, or was it along the way there, or during that time?
I cannot be certain actually, but it's around the same time. It's either just before or just after. So all of this is spring of 2021. So it's not so far apart.
No.
The odds are I probably met him after, because it was easier to understand radical acceptance for me. And then I read up a little bit about it to understand. Sometimes we, I think, intuitively do things. We underestimate our mind and our ability to respond in certain ways, to process things in certain ways. And by doing that, we devalue a little bit concepts and abilities we already have.
Oh, yes.
So it was easier to understand something that I was already doing. So it's a little bit like you are taught to ride a bike. You said the bike is in front of you, and people tell you that you can ride it, and you're not, scientifically taught how to ride it. Oh, when I will leave your bike with you now, I will come back by lunch, and you will be riding. And probably most kids will ride by lunch. Then you can teach the mechanics of it, or all of that. That's a different understanding, because then you're learning your own behavior, so to speak. So it was a little bit similar. Since I was already doing something, then it was easier to understand that, this is what I have done. And then it was easier for me to extend it. Maybe that's a choice I made. To extend it to other areas. If I can radically accept this life situation, how can I not accept other things?
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
So that extension is what I have done voluntarily.
And that made you be able to really love your light sides of yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't come. It took me.
It took some time.
2-3 years, I think.
But if we stay there, because I think it's very interesting. Just after these 3-4 days, did you know intuitively that now it's over? I made it.
I did, actually. It was the morning I woke up. I cannot say it was 4th, 5th, but there were nights that I knew it could be either way. But there was a certain morning I could not sleep those days, actually, so I barely slept. So it was mostly sitting and just passing the night. But I woke up, and I remember telling my partner that okay, now it's over. Now I'm not going to go. And it's extremely strange. I mean, it's not possible to explain it, or it is an instinct. It's you can call it intuition. It's I've had it about other people in the past. So it was in some way it was just a deep knowing. You cannot explain that knowing. But I woke up that morning knowing that it's over. Now I'm here. So now it's to deal with the fact that I am here. So it was...
was it more like a calm knowing, or was it like a joyful knowing, or do you remember that?
It was very flat, actually.
Yeah.
And that time in life is also quite flat.
Yeah.
I did not have... I mean, there were days when I was really sad for the fact that, what little I could do. But for most parts, it was an extremely, now in hindsight, beautiful also. It was a very, very intense relationship with my own self. And I wrote about this a few years ago when I started to come out to society and meet people, because I didn't want to tell this to each person, so it felt easier to just publish. And this is words it's etched in my mind, so it's a period where I really had to learn how to be my best friend, someone that I like to spend time with. And I have always enjoyed my own company. But this was different. This was different in the sense that I would be just sitting with myself 6 to 8 hours, because there's not much I could do.
No.
So in those hours, it was a little bit like a meditative contemplation. And that's why I say that it is a luxury, because I had the luxury of time. And I had the luxury that there wasn't anything else I could do. So it was meditative, it was honest, and it was, of course, intense. And in that time, in all the conversations I had, layer by layer, I had to peel off narratives, I had to peel off myths, I had to peel off societal constructs, I had to peel off other people's perceptions, and get to the actual core. right? What is it that I'm dealing with? So that was really slow, and I had time for it, and I had.
It was also the only option.
Yeah.
For you, maybe not for everyone, but for you, it was the only.
Yeah, I did not know any other way.
No.
I did actually. That is extremely true. It's important to say. It's not, and I'm not saying it in a condescending way. I really did not know that it could be any other way.
No.
So
yeah, no, but I see you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, and I understand why you say it's such a luxury.
Yeah.
Because you really came to the deep part of yourself.
Yeah.
And after that, then, when you came out from that part and you had to meet society, you had to meet people again, you had to be in the more of the close relationships in a different way, and
so this is now when you ask me, I realize that I have done things very carefully. I mean, I don't think I have realized how much processing and caution I've taken on the other side of it. This was also the event itself, the change, or the fact that I was sick. It was equally difficult, and I have said this equally to some other people, and they've said that, but it cannot have been as hard for others as it was for you. But for those who love you, sometimes it's breaking down a truth that's got nothing to do with you as a person, but it's breaking them down in different ways, meaning the Anna I know, if you are not the same, it leaves me in a place where I am not the same. And this is a little bit the root of the denial often, right? When we have...
you start to question yourself.
Yes. So in relationships that are close, if they are sick or if they are not the same, of course...
Who am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. I have had that experience myself.
Yeah. So I think that it put a lot of people around me. So I had to deal with I had to choose if I wanted to confront the fact that others are in denial, that I have really had a difficult period. And I don't want to be complimented for how I handled it or dealt with it, but I do not like... I have this inherent problem. I cannot lie.
No.
It makes me physically sick. And I do not like to be lied to. No. It's a very, very strong trigger in me. So then what do you do? Because
you see if someone lies or if someone is...
so this denial in, whether it was in family or it was in some of the people around me, the denial was actually quite hard. But then, so that's what I mean. That when I am doing the work, it's not the work was not done. Now I think somewhat I am at a place where I have a very, very good balance. But it was very new. So it's a little bit like you have planted a seed. It's spring in Sweden now, so I guess you all have a small seed pocket sitting in your kitchen. You have to protect it with your life, right? Because you never know.
No.
If you leave it out, it's gone. If you leave it in the window too much, it's gone. So you have to really, really protect it. And for me, it was that. Something new had happened. And I really, really had to take care of whatever had sprung inside me. So I limited the circle very much. I limited the time I was in company of others very much. Who I spent time with were all people who were willing to see all of me and just hold space and just hold me. voluntarily, not because I asked. They were just there. And they were God sent. I mean, it was just, they were just there. I did not ask for, someone send them to me, is all I can say.
Yeah.
So it has been a very, very slow, at my own pace, entry into community. And
is it still like that, or have you? Is it still like you are guarding your time in a different way and your energy in a different way?
Not in a different way, but this is something I think I was also as a child. This was something I was very good at. I am aware of what takes away energy and what gives me energy, and I'm very careful about my energy. I do not know where it comes from exactly, but it's almost like you can imagine it like a lamp or a candle burning. And I can almost metaphorically visualize this candle. So I know before I'm going somewhere.
If it's going to give you or if it's going to drain you.
You cannot be certain, but of course, the odds of whether it's going to be this way or that way. And also to be able to imagine when I come back, how might I be feeling and so on. So I have always been careful, and friends of mine will tell you at 9. I say, but this is it, I'm done, or if it's a Sunday evening, no, I'm done. So I have been very, very I'm introverted, so it really takes a lot out of me to be in company. But at the same time, in company that is close and when I'm comfortable and safe, then I can spend a very, very long amount of time conversing and sharing and listening and so on. Now I actively choose. So what I do differently today compared to before is that I have more faith in me, and I trust myself more, that I am willing to call someone that I want to spend time with, which I might not have done before. That I am willing to accept, and I actually believe that, yes, they like to spend time with me too. That is new. Because that's narrative I've shifted, right? I mean, I was like, why will they want to see me? Or why will they want to talk to me? Right? But now I know that it is an equal investment on both parties.
But this is so interesting, because what was it that made you shift? Do you know that?
What made me shift? It's a little bit like the spring and fall. You go to bed one night, when you wake up, suddenly all the leaves are there as if they were always there. But were they? No, they weren't. No. If you walk out right now, there are many, many leaf buds scattered, but it feels like they aren't there. But when they come all at once. But the work is happening under. So it's the same with fall. I mean, they turn yellow, but then one morning suddenly it's golden yellow, and then the next morning it's all gone. So I don't think I can attribute it to one particular time or one particular event per se.
But it was the process.
It is, yeah. So the process has been long, and it has been extremely rewarding. But I think there is, of course, there must have been a moment. I must go and look in my journal, and that's something I've been writing. And if I go back and I can see, I don't know, I try not to go back and read. So if I feel I should write something today, I just write it without checking, have I written it already once before. So what that does is, when if you choose once in a quarter to go and look, you might have this repetitive pattern of thoughts. And then you know that it's not one-off, it's consistent, and you have come past it. It's strong enough to have, it's you are at a place, you have new sets of beliefs and so on. So it's not exactly overnight. But on the other hand, it has happened in packets of events, if I put it like that. During 2024, so it's quite recent. So I know how I felt in the beginning of October 2024. That I felt a sort of fresh energy, and the words I was using and the words I was using to describe situations or conflicts, how I was talking to myself was different. So something, I guess, you crossed a threshold during the summer, and so I know that I could, if I have to recount, then October 24 to past has been that. But I must, there is a big thing that happened in 24. I think that must probably be a big factor. I have a bunch of friends from college that we all turned 40 last year. And we took a 10-day trip. And I cannot say anything about the trip because it's, sworn to secrecy.
Now I'm getting super curious.
It's not for public ears.
I understand.
But on the last day of this 10-day, we had a lot of phenomenal conversations. But on the last day, it was just extremely serendipitous. We ended up at a restaurant by pure chance. It was actually a Swedish and a German couple that run the restaurant and so on. So we just ended up there. It was we decided collectively we were celebrating that our birthdays together, and that culmination we chose to share. A little bit like how you introduced me in the beginning of this talk. How do we see the others? In that hour or so, at the place, in some way that evening, that the magic it was, and listening to how these really, really close friends of mine that we have grown up together since our 17, 18 years, how they see me and the way they said it, and the honesty in that. There has definitely been a before and after in terms of believing and accepting the light.
So that point of time, you actually believed what they said.
Yeah.
You felt it.
Yes.
Before that,
I might
you
have
didn't.
laughed about it. So that's. I think it's been definitely a turning point.
And that's so beautiful.
Sometimes you need to know and hear it through someone else's eyes, and you need to understand that is true because you believe them, not because you believe you, but you believe them enough to believe you. That I think is magic.
Yes.
Yes.
So now we have the full spectrum of Divya. No, not here, of course, but with you. This was part of it. But it's so nice to have listened to you and that you have really described your shadow and your light and the journey, how to come there and what has happened, and also major things and circumstances in your life.
Yes.
So it's been really, I'm extremely grateful for this deep and authentic conversation and to listening to your story. And I want to dig even deeper, actually.
Of course.
But we will have time to do that other times as well.
Absolutely.
But
I think we can, I'm so curious to ask you and talk to you. But it's been, it's the fact that we are able to create a space where there is trust, and the fact that you ask it in a way where I feel, but there is a story there. Often yes. I don't even know.
No.
So I think it's really, really nice. And I loved recounting and sharing.
Yeah. Yes. You do it so beautifully, and it's so really, really nice to listen to you, Divya. And I also think that there are some things that we have in common and some things that are a bit opposite, and it's going to be very. I'm looking forward to see where that can take us, because I think we